One of the very handy things with this is the ability to create and define your own function. So you can create something, and it could be quite complex, and you might be able to run this function anytime you want. So we want to figure out, how do you create your own functions? So you can use the following format to define new functions. Right? And this is what it looks like. So it's def, whoops, def and then give it a function name. Whatever you want to call it. Then the arguments, and it could be multiple arguments. So argument could have more than one argument. And then you put a colon after it. Then in that you put whatever some coding is that is going to be part of your argument, whatever you want to do. And then you'll have a return, and then whatever that output is. It might be the result of whatever your coding is, right? So let's create a function that adds y and x and y together, right? Let's simple function, right? Nothing too out of the ordinary. So let's create this function. So def, and we'll call this sum to num. Okay, that's the function name. And we're going to have two arguments. We're going to have x and we're going to have y. And we're going to put our little colon there. And so what we wanted to do is we wanted to return x plus y. Right? That's a function. All right, well, how does that work? All right, well, this is what we have to do. So let's put in the function name, sum to num, and I want to put in 3 and 8. Just that simple, 3 and 8. So what it's going to do is it's going to say, okay, do we see a function named sum to num? And then here are the two arguments, 3 and 8. And then it's going to go to the function sum to num. It's going to say, okay, x is 3, y is 8. And now it's going to return x plus y. I could also change this up a little bit, right? And have it return z. But here I'm going to say z is equal to x plus y. So that's the coding. And then I want to return z. All right, so let's first of all highlight all of that code, because that is a cell, or I can put my pound and 2 percentage signs there, and that's going to run that cell, all of that stuff, right? And then here might be another cell, right? So here's one cell, and here's the other cell right here, okay? So let's run this cell. I'm going to put my little run cell, current cell contact, okay? And now it's run that cell, right? There's nothing in, no variables. There's nothing in here. There's nothing to see, right? There's no files. There's nothing. And now what I'm going to do is I'm going to run this line, or I'll run this cell, and it should come out with return z of 11. Let's see if it works. Well, it should work. Let's see. There we go. So I had to run that one line, because that's not in the cell. So I just put the line here. I'll get rid of this cell designation. put the line there, and it's going to run that function and give me 11. If I want to change this, I can now put any two numbers in here, 5409 and 2568, and I can run this, and it will give me the sum of those two things. So what it does is, by doing this function, I don't always have to keep on typing z equals x plus y. I can now put in whatever operation I want. Maybe it's z x times y or x divided by y. And now I can just make that one change and put whatever numbers in here that I want and have it come up with the new value. But I have to, the reason why they can't give me the same thing is because I haven't redefined what the function is. So let's run this cell. All right, and now let's run this line. Now it gives me the new value because I've redefined that function. All right, and so you get really complex with it. I could, let's create a new one where I've got 3 different arguments in here. So let's define, we'll call it magic, and I've got x, y, and z. All right, so I've got 3 variables, and I want a to be equal to x times y, and I want b to equal a to, let's make it an exponent, to z. Okay, and then I want to return b. All right, so first of all, we've got to either highlight all this and run it, or I put this in a cell and run that cell. So let's run that cell. So I've got my new function, and now let's put in magic, and we want 3, 6, and 2 because I want, that's an exponent, and we can run this and see what we get. And it gives me 324. If I wanted to do another one, magic, in this case, we'll go 20, 1530, and 5. Right? This is going to be, I think it's going to be a pretty big number. We can run that, and it gives me a very, very big number. Something that I'm not really sure what you do with that. But what I'm trying to do here is tell you that you can define whatever it is you want, and then later on, as you are calling it up, as you got different values, you can always have it run through those particular this particular function and do all of these things without having to repeat these items all the time. So that's how you build your own function. Later on, we'll start working with some of these defined functions to make your coding a little bit easier.